What's going on, guys? I haven't been here to practice in a while. The last time I was here, I was like sort of at the beginning of my training. Well, the beginning of my picking it back up again, you know, after my hiatus. And I was struggling. If I can find the clips, I'll put them in here. But I was struggling to even stick any of these gaps. Like, I couldn't stick anything to save my life. And I think I'm gonna side pre this gap now. It's pretty big. We're gonna try to side pre this gap. So this is about as big as the one I did where on one attempt I slid off. I'll throw that in here too. Very big gap. The other one had a little bit more consequences. This is flat, you know. I mean, you can still roll your ankle on these ledges, but much safer. So yeah, let's see if we can get this nice and clean. Okay, so that was like, I want to say 80% throw, and I landed right before, so that definitely leaves me room to fine tune and calibrate this in, so it's looking good. Okay, so I feel like I'm pulling back because of that extra ledge. So we're gonna take it down to where it's open right there. Same distance, but there's no wall behind it. So mentally it'll be easier. All right, so we've moved down a little bit and the wall ends here. So same exact distance, but much less sketch. I can throw as hard as I want. If I want to overshoot it, I can overshoot it, and I don't have to worry about ramming my shins into that low curve there. We got one foot on it, but my inside leg is, my instincts are taking over, the fight or flight, forcing that leg down. I don't want to hurt myself, which this is a lot of impact. It's a very, very hard jump. So I'll throw it a few more times, see if I can get close enough. If I can get on the thing, I'll be happy with it. But eventually I would like to get this nice and tidy. Oh my God. Oh my God, that was almost toes, dude. And I felt like a perfect arch. I'll see if I can zoom in and do a slow-mo, but I toed it with my left foot. Once again, my right foot was slightly behind, which is typically how I land. If you pay attention to my landings, I do that a lot. It's usually my right foot that gets the ankle thing, but it's looking good. We're already at a 3-minute clip, so I'm gonna cut this and start it again. Let's keep shooting. I need to arch it, shoot it up. That way I can rotate and still have time to spot my landing. I'm moving so fast right now that my spot is getting less and less, so we're gonna try to tune it back a little bit. Gotta calibrate this in. kind of slid off and got a little rollage on that one, but nothing bad. I'll throw it a few more times. If I can't get it, I'm gonna have to walk away from it. The less and less energy I have, the more I'm running the risk of injuring myself. So yeah, maybe we'll give it 3 more shots, and after that we'll play with something else. I am so horrified to put my feet on that ledge, man. I'm landing right before, dude. Right before. I know I can do it, but like I said, this is last throw. If I don't make it, it is what it is. I'll be back. Oh, that was it, man. Oh, that was it. I could have done it right there, but my foot just forcing that foot down. So we're gonna let this sit for a while. I don't want to keep throwing at it. Control, baby. That's what I want. Take a little breather. They got this nice little chill area out here, so I guess I'll take this time to mention a few things that I've been wanting to put out there. Mainly has to do with the concept of, I guess in a way you could call it record keeping, or maintaining somewhat a general history of things. And I'm bringing this into the parkour community from a b-boy's perspective, from somebody who comes from the hip-hop culture. I feel like the reason why it's important to maintain a record-keeping style, or maintain somewhat of a history, is for point of reference, and also to progress and evolve the culture, you know? Like, I won't say everybody does it, you know, but in b-boying, in the hip-hop community, it's very important to have those references and to acknowledge and realize that, you know, everything under the sun has been done before, but at the same time, it's important to give credit where credit's due to all of the innovators and everybody who has contributed something to the culture and evolved the style and progressed the communities. So bringing that into parkour, I feel like it is important, you know. none of us were the first one to do a flip. None of us were the first ones to, jump on a ledge. These things have been done throughout history by, most peoples in the world. But what is important are the people who really truly innovate. And I think it's important for us to, keep track of these things and give credit where credit's due to all the innovators, to the people who have given us new styles, new movements, new moves, you know what I mean? And I think it's important for all of us to want to eventually give back to our culture, to our community, and to innovate something ourselves. One thing I feel like is really lacking in the parkour community is originality. It's not the same as with hip hop. In hip hop we call it biting, which is just you're straight up copying somebody, which I'm sure a lot of you can agree. There's a difference between being inspired by somebody and, just being a cookie cutter copy of another individual. And I think it's really important, and I think it's something that is lacking in our community, and I feel like it needs to be acknowledged. Somebody needs to say it, We should all ultimately be trying to give something back to the culture, to the community. What have you done for parkour? Or whatever your lifestyle or hobby or passions may be, I'm sure most people will agree with me that we take and we take and we take from this. It's important for us to also give back. So with that being said, my goal for me personally is to eventually give something back to this parkour, free running, whatever you want to call it. Labels to me, they're just point of references, just like the history. As much as we're not going to go through and just keep an absolute record log of every person who's ever done anything ever, but it is important for a frame of reference, It's the same reason why we have time, so that we can reference things and make schedules and appointments. So yeah, I want to give something back. I'm still kind of finding myself in this thing, even though I've been doing parkour and free running since I was a child. I've done this in the most unusual places. Parkour, free running, and dancing helped me through some very difficult times in my life. And I hope eventually I get to share those stories with you, but let's just say that I've done parkour in a place that I don't think anybody else on the planet can say they've done it. So yeah, I want to give back. I want to innovate something, and I feel like everybody should be ultimately striving towards that at the end of the day. It's a movement, and it helps us better ourselves. It helps us through hard times. And it's just fun, maybe you're not that serious into it, maybe it's not that serious for you, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, labels are not that important. But if you do care about parkour, and it is important to you, like it is to me, and you are passionate about it, I think that you should try and find what your thing is and how you can innovate and create something new and original and fresh, and give it back to the community so that they can pick it up and inspire others as well. We should never stop growing. We should never stop innovating. And ultimately that's my spiel on this whole thing, and that's really why I wanted to sit down and talk about this. So if you guys have any comments or would like to add anything, or if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. If you don't want to comment, feel free to message me. You can personal message me, and I'll talk to you. You know what I mean? I'm not a stuck-up individual in this community. I know there's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be somebody stronger, faster, but that's not what this is about. It's about our personal connection with this thing that we call parkour. or free running. Like I say, the labels aren't important, but the essence of it, that's what's important. And without frames of reference and without innovation and without giving credit where credit's due, you know, it's really easy to get lost in the sauce, so to speak. It's really easy for it to get watered down, and you know, from a b-boy's perspective, it's happened to us, and we had to work hard to take it back. You know, it never left the underground, but in the public's eye, it's breakdancing. You know, you're a break dancer, and labels aren't important, but at the end of the day, what that represents to a b-boy, to a breaker, to a break boy, it represents the gentrification, if you will, the watering down of our culture. And I know early on there was a lot of that arguing about parkour and free running and definitions and all that. You know, while it is important, you shouldn't get lost and you shouldn't get caught up in that. But again, some things you should keep in mind, and you should be able to take reference using some of these labels. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. You know, don't let parkour and free running become break dancing, you know, where people are just doing this because it's trendy. This is something that's very real and very personal to all of us. I'm sure to a lot of you. So yeah, I guess I'll shut up now. But that's my spiel, that's my stick on it. And I hope you guys agree, and if you don't, I'd love to hear about it. So peace out. Till next time.